following 4 Aces production is for mature audiences only. Listener discretion is highly advised.
Kicking back on this summer breeze. Welcome to Double K's Classroom. Class is officially in session.
All right, guys, and welcome back to yet another special edition of Double K's Classroom as I continue to talk to NBA playoffs. This week, it was kind of a boring week. Just about every team that's in control continued to remain in control. The Cavs, who I believe were up 1-0 over the Raptors the last time I did an episode, have now gone up 3-0. They've played 2 more games. Cleveland won 128-110 on the first round, and won on a LeBron James buzzer beater on a fadeaway in Game 3 on Saturday. This team looks to run right on through. Like Stephen A. Smith said, the Raptors become the baby dinosaurs whenever they face LeBron. They shrink. Who knows why? They just don't step up to the challenge. And it kills me because I thought that if there was anybody, the 2 teams that I thought had the best chance at being able to knock off LeBron are struggling right now, and one is struggling against LeBron. Let me say this. The Raptors can win maybe a game, maybe 2. They may have some pride left in them, and they may not get bounced out in Cleveland on Monday or later on today. But I just don't think they have what it takes. Like, for some odd reason, DeMar DeRozan is not a strong player when it comes to high pressure situations against the King. This Cleveland team is not this good, people. Understand, like even LeBron, like as good as he's playing, this Cleveland team is not this good. Do not expect them to be going on to face a Warriors or a Houston, and if they do, expect them to get clobbered by a Warriors or Houston in the postseason if they manage to make the NBA Finals. But I do say congratulations to the Cleveland team on dominating the number 1 seed in the East. But as much as people want to say this speaks to LeBron's this speaks to LeBron's to LeBron's greatness. I say it actually takes away because I think this has more to do with Toronto. Like, to be honest with you, man, it's strange. Like, whenever they come across LeBron, it's like bang, they all of a sudden disappear. Like, and that's what happened. They lost a close one, 113-112 in overtime with a prime opportunity. Now, let me tell you this. In Game 1 of this series, they missed a shot that I thought they could have made that would have resulted in them winning the game in regulation. It bounced around. It was batted in twice, and just somebody put a plastic cap on the rim and didn't tell Toronto, because the game stayed tied, and LeBron and Tristan Thompson were able to wreck shop and get the victory in Game 1. And it's just been demoralizing and downhill for the Toronto Blue Jays ever since. So let me tell you this, guys. Expect Cleveland to sweep. Expect LeBron to have some rest, and expect it to be a tough matchup against the winner of this matchup, which will be Boston and the 76ers. the 76ers are a solid team in the sense that they really are the better team on paper because of the loss of Jason Brown in game one, Gordon Hayward, and Kyrie Irving. The 76ers should be dominating this series, kind of like they dominated the Heat. But alas, I don't know what's going on. Philly's so-called Rookie of the Year, Ben Simmons, just kind of floated away. He really hasn't done anything. Like, I believe he scored a total of like maybe 10 or 15 points throughout the entire game, or throughout the entire series so far, maybe 15, 20 max. But when you got your star player, and Joel Embiid's having a pretty decent series, but when your best player is average of what, like, or sorry, your second best, your one or two best players are averaging under what? Under 25 points a game, when they're good enough to average 25 points a game, it's just, not only is it embarrassing, it puts you in a position where you want to trust the process. But I'm not saying you shouldn't trust the process. I think you should give a lot of credit to the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics are a team that people really counted out once they lost Hayward and Kyrie Irving, and this team has played like a championship quality team the entire time since losing Kyrie in them. This entire playoffs, they beat up on who was it? Washington in the first round. Who I thought, because Washington had John Wall and Bradley Beal, that they were just going to run all over Boston, and Boston manhandled them. Same way Philly manhandled the 76ers. I believe it went 7 games, but Boston handled their business. So when you think about this series, it's a classic series, but wow, man, like it just blows my mind the fact that the Philadelphia 76ers are getting ran off the court like this by Boston Celtics team without any like all-star caliber players. It's 2 rookies dominating, Brown and Tatum. It's a young cat, unknown Terry Rozier that's helping them to dominate. A kid so good that it has Stephen A. Smith talking about them trading Kyrie Irving to the Spurs for Kawhi Leonard, which would make a hell of a starting lineup for the Boston Celtics. Bravo on another point to Brad Stevens, who took a team without its stars and made a 7-1, I believe they are in the playoffs so far, or 7-2, or no, 7-3. Sorry, they beat Washington in 7, and now they're up 3-0 over Philly. Wow, congrats to y'all on being able to handle your business and be a team that not only Boston can be proud of, but congrats to your coach Brad Johnson on being able to make you guys into a contender right off the bat without your star players. And I believe they will be facing the Cavs, and it will make for a very, very interesting series for the conference finals. But we'll get to that because by the end of this week we should know. So by next week I should be talking about the conference finals and what the matchups are, and letting you know like who, what, when, and where, so to speak. But I think if they don't trade Kyrie, which I doubt they will, I think that not trading Terry Rozier would be a bad thing. Like, keep him as a young backup to Kyrie Irving. He can definitely learn. They have similar play styles. They're both just as good as each other. So I think that we can definitely work with them, Brad Stevens and sorry, I called you Brad Johnson last time. Brad Stevens. For those of you who don't know who Brad Stevens is, he was the coach that took Butler to the Final Four like 2 years in a row, into a national championship game where they lost to Duke. So if you don't remember him then, the guy's always been a defensive-minded guy. He's a great coach him up. Like, I believe Gordon Hayward was one of his guys. He's a great coach him up type guy, get the most out of people. And it makes me believe that Boston's going to be even more of a threat to Cleveland and that Eastern Conference crown next year than they are this year. But Boston surprised me so far because I'm one of those people. Sorry about that. I'm one of those people that thought that Boston was going to be out early, that maybe Washington was going to knock them out, or definitely Philly was going to knock them out, and they've proven me wrong at every step of the way. So, congrats to the Boston Celtics. Congrats to the Cavs. They're both up 3-0, dominating their matchups. So, we're going to take our first and only commercial break here for the day, and we'll come back and talk the Western Conference matchups and who I believe will be in the Western Conference Finals. So I think you already know one of the teams. You're listening to Double K's special edition NBA playoffs of the Classroom, right here on 4 Aces Presents Radio, Spreaker.com.
Hey, Saturday night, live at 7 p.m. Pacific. Check out the Mr. Deacon Experience, only on Spreaker.com. 4 Aces Presents Radio.
Now, lastly, we take a look at one of the co-founders for 4 Aces, the Saint, and his group, The Collective, as they bring us MVT West and MVT Deuce. First up, we'll have MVT West.
Ladies and gentlemen, everybody around the world, I welcome you to the season premiere and the Spreaker premiere of 4 Aces Presents Now versus Then West, where the West Coast has it in. My name is Christopher T. Williams, aka The Saint, and tonight on this premiere episode, we are going to be getting it in with the one and only first all-female hip-hop group to ever exist in the history of hip-hop, and I am talking about Cheryl the Pearl, Blondie, and Angie B, aka Angie Stone, and I am talking about The Sequence. Tonight we're going to get an in-depth interview with these ladies. They are going to tell you their story from the beginning. They're going to let you know what it's...
Now, you can normally catch NVT West on Wednesday nights at 9 p.m. The next show you can catch pretty much at random on any given night between 9 and midnight on the 4 Aces Presents Network, and that's NVT Deuce.
What's good with the planet Earth? What's good with it? And you are tuned into the vibe. Welcome to 4 Aces Presents NVT Deuce. I'm your host of the evening. As always, I am the Saint, and tonight it's just another Saturday night conscious storm. It's a little breezy outside here in the great city of Sacramento, California, but we're going to do what we can to keep you warm if you're a little bit cold. And for those back east that are listening to us on the late night, we appreciate it and we welcome you to the vibe, as always. Tonight we're going to kind of mix it up a little bit with the music, but there are a couple of announcements that I'm going to be making.
All right, guys, so that'll do it. MVT Deuce, like I said, you can find them on random nights from Tuesdays to Saturdays to Thursdays. Just keep an eye out for MVT Deuce, MVT West, right here at the 4 Aces Presents Radio Network on Spreaker.com /user/4 Aces Presents. 12 different shows, one unique voice. I'm Double K. We'll catch you next time. Peace. And we are back. Yeah. So, like I said, we're going to talk some Western Conference playoffs. In the Western Conference, on the Western Conference tip, we have the Rockets facing off against the Jazz. The Jazz took out the Thunder, who looked to be rebuilding or reloading or whatever, getting rid of Carmelo Anthony and Paul George, evidently, and starting all over with Russell Westbrook and see if they can find two other people to get in there and play with him. But the Rockets now have a 3-1 lead over the Utah Jazz with Carmelo Anthony. They said not Carmelo Anthony, Chris Paul and James Harden combining for 50 of their like 101 points, like almost half of their points, and were responsible for up to 70 points of their 101 point score. But they went up 3-0 by sweeping the series in Utah. I thought Utah would take at least one of those after taking one in Houston, but I guess not. It looks like the Rockets should be closing out the Jazz here soon, and moving on to the Western Conference Finals for, I believe, like the second time in 3 years. This matchup, Donovan Mitchell is my Rookie of the Year over Ben Simmons. Partial, like I said, on West Coast Bias this afternoon, on Sunday afternoon. First and foremost, he's my Rookie of the Year because he's actually a rookie. He's not a second-year player that just was redshirted. Like, I hate the idea about redshirting. The fuck is that shit? No redshirting. And so he is a second-year player. Donovan Mitchell is a first-year player who is doing big things in the playoffs. Got his name up there in a couple of big playoff moments. But the Jazz will most likely be going home because the Rockets are just too much for them. But congrats to them on making it this far. And the Rockets, well, let's talk about who the Rockets will see in the Western Conference Finals. This most likely will be the NBA Finals as the Golden State Warriors continue their role, scoring 118 points, holding New Orleans Pelicans to 92, and winning the third of the last 4 games in this series, and look to close out in Golden State on Tuesday, May 8th. I think both teams will see the similar round of rest, but the Warriors have pretty much dominated this series. I love Anthony Davis and them boys. I really, really do, and they are damn good. But they just didn't have nothing, especially once it was announced that Steph was coming back in Game 2. And now, mind you, Steph didn't come back in Game 1. They romped them by 22. So Steph comes back in Game 2. They win by 5. Then they lose Game 3. I just think same reason they lost Game 3 last year in the finals. On the road, playing at home, people are hyped up. They're down 2-0. Now it's time to get going. This game really brought the Pelicans back down to earth, made them realize who they were fucking with, and the Warriors should close this out, same as Houston on Tuesday. Now, what that means is that we're going to see Warriors versus Rockets in the Western Conference Finals, with the Rockets having won the season series from the Warriors 2-1. But it's going to make for an interesting series, because I believe this Warriors team is playing better defense than they were during the regular season, and this Rockets team is just cruising along. Like, they're proving why they were the best team in all of basketball this recent year, or at least record-wise they were the best team. So can lightning strike twice? Can the Warriors catch the Rockets slipping and get past them again this year and get to the NBA Finals? I don't know. We'll have to see how it plays out. I would like to think so as a Warriors fan. The Warriors fan in me wants to say yes, but I don't know. This Warriors team surprised me and went a lot of different ways this year. So they very well is very much as much of a chance they have to win that game, they have to lose that game. So I would just keep an eye on that series, because that is most likely your Western Conference playoffs. One last note on the hockey playoffs. San Jose Sharks are no longer in it. Lost to the Vegas Knights tonight. Great season, Sharks. Big round of applause, brothers. I hope you continue to get better in the coming years, and we can see you get back to that Stanley Cup playoffs where you were a couple of years ago. As for the Warriors, let's get done with the Pelicans so that we can rest Steph and get him ready for what's going to be a very intense series, and then probably a cakewalk over whoever comes out of the East, unless it's Boston. If it's Boston, that's going to be a struggle, because Boston is damn good with defense. So we'll see what happens. But I believe Cleveland will knock off Boston, and the Warriors will be able to dominate Cleveland, or Houston will be able to dominate Cleveland. So basically, the winner of the Western Conference Finals is your NBA champ. At least that's how I see it. That's it for today, guys. Class is dismissed. Join me next week as I begin to talk as the conference finals will probably have started. At least game ones have been played. We'll be able to talk about the matchups and how things are going. So I'll talk to y'all then. Y'all take care. This is the third episode in this special edition out of about 8. We're going all the way to the end of the NBA Finals. Y'all have a great day. I'll talk to you later. Class is dismissed. Peace.